I'm Ray. Welcome to Ray's Toolbox. Today I'm going to show you how I made a barber pole out of stained glass. Made this for a friend, so let me show you how I did that. When working with stained glass, it helps a lot to have a pattern, so I couldn't find one this size that I wanted. After looking through a lot of coloring books and other things to get the idea, I found what I wanted and then blew it up and enlarged it on the printer. After that, it's just a matter of putting the pieces together and making them the size that I wanted. In order to keep the pieces from floating around in the pattern, you need a board that you can put some thumbtacks in to hold everything steady. So found a piece of that and fastened my pattern. It's time to get working. First, the red, white, and blue strips I wanted to cut 3 1/4 inches wide. Then it's just a matter of putting the glass on top of the pattern and marking the lines on how big you want your pieces to be cut. Yeah, it takes a little bit of practice to snap on the score line. I am not an expert at this, but it's fun to give this a shot and see what happens. After you score where you want the line to go, you can tap on the bottom side of the glass with a glass cutter and kind of persuade the break to follow the line. The blue glass and the red glass that I used was really textured on one side. So just a FYI, when you go to cut glass, you want to cut on the back or the smooth side of the glass. And again, to get the pieces right, we just put the strip of glass on top of the pattern and mark with a marker where we want to score, where we want to make the cut at. You want to use firm, steady pressure when making the cuts with the glass cutter. Sometimes the patterns that you see for this pole will have the stripes kind of wrapped around on the ends. I'm not quite that fancy and well versed with glass yet, so I just went with straight cuts on the ends of them. Glass that I picked out, you can see right through it to mark the lines. If you have more of a opaque glass, sometimes it helps to have a light box or a strong light below it to help you see the lines on where to mark. As the project progresses, remember to mark the pieces that we have, number them, and number the pattern itself so you know where the pieces line up with each other. To cut the circles, I'm going to do it in several cuts. Just kind of hit the arc on one side and come back out to the edge and then make a new cut. Light pressure to get the cut to go around the globe in this case, and after I get it down close, it's still too much to grind the edge down flat. So I'll take a pair of grooving pliers and basically chew off the excess till I can get up close to the line. This pattern has a couple of thin bars between the stripes and the globes on the end, so I cut 1/4 inch pieces off of a black and cut them down to size. Any time that we cut glass to work with, we should really grind the edges flush at a 90-degree angle. That way when we go to put the foil on, the glass doesn't have quite as sharp of an edge to slice your fingers with. After all of the pieces are cut, we have them laying on top of the pattern. They're numbered, you know where they go. Then it's time to take each piece individually and go ahead and grind it down, get the sharp edges off of it, and you can shape it down to size to fit the next piece. After all of the pieces are ground down, they fit tightly together on the pattern, we have everything the way that we like it. Then it's time to put the foil on. It is a matter of choice, how you've been trained, what you like after you try them both. You can use cane on the inside between the glass and around the outside to hold it together. I myself was taught both ways, but I do prefer the foil. I think it makes a better, tighter joint, at least with my skills. To put foil on each piece, you simply center the foil on the edge of the pieces, wrap it around, and we're going to take a popsicle stick or something and flatten it down really tight around the edges, and then fold the edges over the sides of the piece of glass, and we're going to take that same popsicle stick and burnish the edges down so everything lays really tight, really flat, and looks good. After we get a piece finished, we have it foiled, the sides are burnished down, the foil is ready to be soldered. Put the piece as we get them into the pattern, and we're going to use the push pins to hold them in place. After all of the pieces are foiled, they're laying on top of the pattern, we have them pinned into place. Now it's time to tack things together so we can solder it. The first thing you want to do is take a little bit of flux and dab it where you're going to solder, and we're just going to take a drop of solder and put it on that spot between the joints. We go down around the joints and kind of get it held together this way, and then we can come back and lay a nice pretty strong bead of solder. Now that we have everything tacked together, we're ready to lay down the beads of solder between all the joints. Of course, we have to flux everything, and then we're going to simply heat up the solder and lay it down. After all of the joints are soldered between the two pieces, I go around the outside edges and just lay a thin bead of solder around the outside edge, but only on the front side, back side, not on the actual edge yet. After that side is finished, it's all put together one unit, so it's easy to flip it over, and I need to solder all the joints and the face edges on the back side. After both sides, front side and back side, is soldered, I need to put something around the outside edge to help hold it together. The joints are kind of weak, and we need to put something around the outside edge to tie them together as a unit. I took 3 strips of 20 gauge wire and put one end of each of the strips in a drill, held the other end with a pair of pliers, and turned the drill on and twisted them together. So I have a really nice, pretty braided wire that I can tack to the outside all the way around. It's going to give it a lot of stability and strength. It's a little tricky to get this step finished because the solder, of course, wants to run down, so you can't work with much at a time, or you're going to have a very thin edge instead of a nice beefed up thick one. You may have noticed how easy it is to tell what part has been soldered and what part hasn't. The solder, of course, is a really bright silver in color. It's a matter of personal preference, but instead of seeing the bright solder all over the piece, I'm going to use some black patina and change all the bright color to a dull, dark color. What that does is, instead of the eye looking at the bright silver or pretty stuff, we kind of don't look at the glass when we do that. So with that being dark, your eye is going to see the glass, and I think it looks a lot better that way. So here I'm putting on the black patina. It's changing that silver color to a dark antique color, if you will. After I get this on and it dries well, then I will wash it off with some dishwasher soap. So this is what it looks like after we're finished. I have the hanger on the back here for hanging up, of course, but not too bad for the first project I've done. outside of class, on my own, if you will. I did call the instructor once. After I put the patina on, I took some car wax and waxed it down, helped shine up the patina, and shined up the glass as well. So, time to give this to my buddy, and we'll see what we can find on the next project. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you on the next video. Subscribe if you haven't. Bye.